Yeah, look, I think the new turf is quite innovative from Great Britain. I haven't seen a lot of hockey on it. I know that the Australian men's coach, Rick Charlesworth, was quite critical of it early. However, I think most of us that have anything to do with new turfs know that when they're shipped out before they're actually put down, that they do put a protective sort of coating on the surface, and it does make it quite slippery. Look, I think the blue surface and the yellow ball for TV coverage, and I've got to suggest that that's probably the only reason it's been done. There's no doubt about the fact that the ball does stand out a lot more. All of the teams that I know have all been playing on either the surface here in London, or they've travelled the world to find blue turfs. I know that there's been one put down at the over in Western Australia that those teams were prepared on. So look, it's a different colour. It's exciting. Whether it will affect the game or the play, I doubt it. Probably going to be better for TV coverage, unquestionably. What is interesting as far as these Olympics are concerned, and it's not just in the women's competition, but across the board with the men as well, is that everyone is going with that extra field player. There's only one goalkeeper been named in most of the squads, or all the squads that I've looked at, and that's for the people who don't get to watch a lot of hockey. It just gives you that extra field player on the bench to be able to come out and play as an on-field player and come on as a reserve. I think the other interesting thing to watch of late is that a lot of the coaches have been experimenting with taking the goalkeeper off. If they're one down, or if they're a goal behind at some stage in the game, whether it be in the second half or late in the game, they're substituting their keeper and putting on an additional field player. We saw it happen a lot. Rick Charlesworth experimented with it in the men's competition in Cairns, North Queensland, in Australia recently. Worked a couple of times, and on other occasions the Black Sticks were quite capable of scoring goals against. My feel on it is that you can't do it for much more than about 3, 4 or 5 minutes, because the opposition then realise that the goalkeeper's out of the net. They understand where the space is, and they get in behind the opposition defence quite easily and score really what are uncontested goals. So 3 or 4 minutes max, I would suggest, and then get your goalkeeper back on. Regarding the teams to watch, with all due respect to all the teams, there seems to be a pool easier than the other. Obviously, you've got probably Great Britain and the Netherlands. Fantastic to see Belgium here, as I mentioned in the men about the Belgian women are here playing at the games, which is fantastic for them. But look, from China, Japan, Korea, Netherlands, and Belgium and Great Britain, where does the top two come from? That's where Great Britain might have an advantage in the fact that they're at home, they've trained on the new surface, and they're familiar with everything that's going on. You'd expect the Netherlands to get through. They're quite strong and have been for a number of years, and constantly rated in the top 1, 2, and 3 of the hockey competition. So look, I'm going to go out on a limb and give the Poms a bit of a break here and go Netherlands and Great Britain might get through there, but with all due respect, Korea and China, you can't underestimate them either. And then on the other side of the draw in the women's Pool B, that pool of death, probably a tough pool. I mean, you've got Argentina, you've got Australia, you've got Germany, you've got New Zealand, you've got South Africa, and you've also got the USA. Now, some of the stuff that's been going on, against each other in that pool is quite interesting. Australia recently hosted the USA out on a tour at Easter in 2012, and there wasn't anything in those games, and the USA accredited themselves quite well. I haven't seen a lot of South Africa lately, but they'll play good, hard, strong hockey. Germany and Australia, you would like to hope, but you can't write it. I mean, Argentina's right up there as well. I've got to say Australia, obviously because of where I'm from, but Argentina, Germany, New Zealand and USA will go very, very well as well. Players to watch for Great Britain. Walsh and Cullen have been in good form in the women's competition, and it will be interesting to see how they go. For the Netherlands, obviously Poorman, Van Ass has come on in leaps and bounds. since I saw her debut. Gee, I reckon it'd be 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even more, at a Champions Trophy, 1998 probably. So there you go. That's 98, 12 years ago. She was a string bean, and she's playing really, really well now. And Lammers is coming on really well too, and she's an attacking midfielder that can move forward, so she's quite dynamic. In the Australian team, obviously we're looking at Blythe and Eastman, in that sort of midfield, going forward type role, and they're quite dynamic to watch. I think with Australia, a lot will depend on Cronk in the net. If she has a good championship or a good Olympic campaign, I think that they'll be hard to beat. But a lot of pressure on her, and interesting to see. I suppose she's not going to like me saying it too much, but the grandmother of the team, I suppose, coming back in Hope Munro. She is a girl that, or a player that really does know where the net is. So she could be quite exciting to watch, and I think she could score some big goals as well. Obviously for Germany, you've got Keller and their captain Ryan. They're going to. I mean, Keller, interesting to see her the other night as the flag bearer. Fantastic for her. And with Argentina and another flag bearer, by the way, so it was interesting to see that we had 2 flag bearers that were female hockey players the other night. Amar and Luchetti. I mean, Amar, I don't know what, World Player of the Year 7 times. Just an unbelievable player. She just knows where space is. She directs the team around the park, and she's going to be inspirational to watch. And I think if she plays well and gets supported well, then Argentina will be well on the way to playing in the final.